I believe divorce or separation is also an act of love. And of course, coupled with our African culture, she somehow blackmailed 2Face into staying in the marriage, because a man who treats you like that definitely doesn't love you. Your marriage, your relationship, whether you're just dating, does not define who you are. Children are never a means to saving a marriage. That's the statement from 2Face, and right after I'll be playing the entire clip from Annie. Life with Ruzhoff, my lovelies, inspiring you to live an empowered life. As you can all see from the statement, 2Face says he and Annie are getting a divorce. As you can hear in the clip that will be coming up, you hear a damaged woman. You hear a woman that's been hurt, a woman that has been going through a lot, a woman that is mentally distressed. And let's put this very clear. This video is not here to bash anyone, to bash Annie or 2Face, but rather to look at both sides of the story and hope that this video helps someone out there that might be navigating a similar situation and doesn't even know how to get out of it.
Hello, Idibia family. This is Annie. You know, say that I was with my husband today. Peaceful, nothing happened. My husband told me he had a shoot today. Only for him to pack his things and his stupid cousin Frankie helped him plan it. His family does not love me. They hate me. They've been giving me hell for 10 years. Today, my husband packed his things. He lied to me that he was going to shoot. But my husband is on his way to America, planned by himself, F.L. Moibe, and Frankie. One of these behind my back. I don't deserve it. I don't. I know this is not your business. But I can't call any member of this one. I can't even call his manager. He will not take my call. Because he thinks I'm the reason. He thinks I'm in his way. He thinks I'm in his way. So he, FA, would never take my call. He don't send this on his way to America without telling me. Without telling me. Without telling me. Go to see Pharaoh in America. And he's not a kid. Don't move this car. Find this car. I'm going right now on Instagram Live. I'm going now. I'm done. I'm done.
So for me, when I saw this news, actually my first reaction was someone sent me a clip and I was like, oh my god, finally, it's been long overdue. If you've watched Young African and Famous, I remember seeing her in the first episode and thinking, oh my god, poor woman, like what is she going through? And we all know 2Face's story, you know, sharing kids with several women, cheating left, right and center. It's basically been like an open marriage or an open relationship. And listening to her story and seeing her behavior, especially in the first episode, I was thinking, what is making her stay? Why isn't she putting an end to this? Why is she accepting that kind of treatment? Which I'll be getting into when you look at the comments and how the people are reacting on social media. Then I somehow understand probably why she stayed, unfortunately. So Annie's situation is a perfect example of overstaying a situation, be it a marriage, be it a relationship, be it a terrible job. Never overstay a situation, and in this case a bad marriage. So I'll first go back to my thesis of why I think maybe she stayed this long. Society also plays a very big role. I've seen very many comments on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, where actually even people are like, how can she even break up? How can she complain publicly? Or how can 2Face, you know, break up with her? We in the African society, it's all about time that we go to accept that marriages do end. People fall out of love. People choose a different kind of life that you would have wanted for them. Having a family with someone, having been married, having had kids, doesn't mean you're in a prison. Doesn't mean you must stay no matter what, no matter whether they're abusive, whether they're unfaithful to you, whether you're unhappy, whether something is not working. We really have to change as a society and stop judging people whose marriages, whose relationships do not work out. Because in Anne's case, especially when you look at the Nigerian community and society, it is one of those very traditional African communities, and probably she feared that society will frown upon her, being that her man is this celebrity, the whole world knows him. And 2Face, the same situation, honestly. I have to consider both sides. Probably was no longer in love with her, didn't want the marriage anymore, but was also scared of the consequences of what will happen. When you listen to this clip where Anne is having a total breakdown. You also hear her threatening, I'm going to put everything out there. And that is a very difficult situation for both of them, for 2Face and also for Annie. So I think that is also one of the reasons. Definitely another reason is she completely lost herself. Annie had a career of her own before she married 2Face. All these children that he sired were actually sired during the time when he was already in a relationship with her, even when they were married. But she stayed. And I think most women who lose themselves, by giving up on their careers, by becoming totally financially dependent, find it very difficult to start afresh, because again, you decide that your marriage identifies you. You identify yourself around your marriage, around your husband. You lose your own identity, and that is what happened with Annie. From her behavior in Young Famous African, from the things that have been happening even the past years, you can tell that this is a woman that lost who she is. And somehow she thought, maybe because they have kids, maybe because he's a celebrity, and of course coupled with the African culture, she somehow blackmailed 2Face into staying in the marriage, because a man who treats you like that definitely doesn't love you, but somehow she managed to keep him locked in, even when she knew deep down 100% that it wasn't working, that it was a lost cause. Not forgetting, she never set boundaries. There's no way you're going to set boundaries and a man is going to go cheat once, cheat twice, the third, the fourth time, and not just cheating, but he's siring kids, unprotected intimacy. He could bring you diseases, all sorts of things could happen, and you still stay. There she made the mistake. Am I going to judge her? No. We've all been in situations where we look back and we're like, how in the actual F did I even do this? How could I have tolerated that? Oh, why did I even let this happen? And it doesn't have to be in a marriage. It can be in the workspace. It can be with colleagues. It can be with family. We've all had our situations where we lost it. But in Annie's case, I think it is an issue of maybe the greatest love. I don't know if you've experienced it, but at least 90% of the people get to experience that one love that destroys you, where you love someone so much more than they love you, where you love someone so much you lose yourself, you break all your rules, you break all your principles, you're willing to go to the farthest end for them. I think that's the kind of love Annie had for 2Face, and it destroyed her. So that's why I don't want to judge her harshly or even judge her at all. Who am I to judge her, But we've all had at some point that relationship where we broke our rules for someone, where we did things when, we look back and be like, how in the world did I even do that? And I think in this case, that's what happened with Anna. And this is a tricky situation. When you stay longer than you should, that is overstaying a situation. What happened in Annie's case, the man cheats, the man says kids outside of your marriage, and you stay, you end up losing your worth and your value, and you're forced to tolerate that kind of behavior, because anyway, the whole world knows. And then you're scared of being alone, you're scared of being judged, and then you have kids. I mean, we're talking about the desperacy in the new Young Famous South African. She even says that she was pregnant with twins and lost them. And I'm thinking, how in the world did she even think of becoming pregnant? Everyone, the whole world could see this marriage is non-existent. It's a lost cause. But what happens in such situations when a woman is desperate? Sometimes they think having a child would save the marriage. A child can never save the marriage. And she forgot they already had kids, but he still managed to stay unfaithful. He still managed to share kids with other people. So there's no way you can think of, let's get more kids, so he's gonna stay. And that's why I said she tried blackmailing him into staying into the marriage, probably out of desperation, which is very unfortunate. Of course, what everyone else is saying, the wealth, she stayed because of the money. Well, I can totally understand that. I hear they started, when they were like young, they 2Face become popular when they're already together. That is also a tricky situation, and that's why I like telling women and everyone else, marriage is never a guarantee for anything, There's no guarantee that you're going to stay together forever. There's no guarantee that someone is going to treat you well because you can love them. Like they say, you can never love someone into a better person, or loving you does not guarantee that someone is going to love you back that much. And no matter how far you've come with someone, with a partner, with a boyfriend, with a husband, do not risk your mental health just because you're thinking, oh my God, we've been together 10 years, we've been together 20 years, and I don't want to leave. It's never worth it. And when you look at such relationships, most of the time, even out of like, we've been together 20 years. If you ask this person, out of the 20 years, how many years have you been truly happy with this marriage? They'll probably say maybe 2 years, you know? So it's never worth it. And with the wealth, of course, being that she has kids and the fact that she gave up her career and lost herself in the marriage, on one hand, I can totally understand her, of course. You know, she chose to support her husband, to have his back, to be there for him. So you're thinking, I'm used to this kind of lifestyle. My children are used to this kind of lifestyle. Where am I going to start from? Is he going to continue to support us even when we're divorced, so my children do not have to get used to another lifestyle maybe? And being that they're in the public eye, of course it is important that they maintain that lifestyle. You know, you're not going to find Annie working somewhere in some downtown market. She won't even get a job because everyone's going to be, that's 2Face's wife, that is Tubaba's wife, you know. So it's really a tricky situation. And before we even go on now looking at Tubaba's side or 2Face's side, of course he also played a role. I can't talk much because again, we all reacting to what we're seeing on social media. It's only the two of them who know exactly what is going on, you know. But he also must have played a role by letting her, you know, give up her career to support him, to be a full-time mom, to take care of the home and the household. And I hope that he remunerates her well. He takes care of her well even when they get divorced. And most of all, for the sake of the children, so they can continue to live the kind of life and have the lifestyle that they've always had. Because I think that would only be fair. And also maybe support her to get her back life together. That would be very helpful. And of course, another thing that people talked about was, why did you have to bring it in the media? Well, these are public figures. They have, you know, social media in-laws, and they are all curious to know. And like I said, when you're in that kind of field, and how Anna is also ranting in this clip, you hear that she also threatens, you know, there's some kind of blackmail. If you leave me, I'll say this and that. And maybe he thought, that's my only way out. Coming clean, saying everything, and then putting it behind me. But it's unfortunate that someone has to first come to that. And that's why we have to normalize divorce. That's why we have to normalize separation. Not because it's the perfect thing, but that is reality. I mean, just imagine if you can have conflicts with your own siblings. Why do you think you have a guarantee to spend the rest of your life with someone, a stranger you met at 20, at 30, at 40? You know, and we have to be realistic. It is normal for someone to fall out of love. And if they do, then be mature enough to talk about an exit plan for both of you. Let each other go and start afresh. For me, that's honestly my perspective. And I think it's a very healthy perspective of looking at things. So for Annie, I feel sorry for her, being that I'm a mom myself, advocacy myself. But I can also say that it's possible to start over. You know, I chose divorce because that was the only option and best option left for me. And here I am. And I believe even when there are children involved, it's always the best option for the children is where the parents are happy, whether in the marriage or divorce. But as long as the parents are happy, the children are happy. So my lovelies, before we even go on, I'm curious to know what your perspective is, what you think about this. Have you even got the news? Have you seen the videos everywhere? Let me know in the comment section. And I would like to know what your take is on that. Is there anyone to blame? Is it normal and okay? Should we also start normalizing divorce, especially in the African culture, and stop being so judgmental and stop hanging so much onto things that do not serve us, where someone has to end up being, you know, mentally broken? Annie is totally mentally broken, you know. I saw videos of people saying maybe she's using substances, but how does one come to such an extent? It comes from desperation. It comes from being torn. Keeping in mind that in Africa, we don't also normalize therapy. So probably she has even never done any therapy. You keep all this pain inside you, and being a public figure, you don't want the world to know. So it eats you up, it breaks you until, you know, you're totally damaged. So I'm curious to know what you think in the comment section. This being a social empowerment channel, of course, we don't just react to things. We like to learn from them. We like to benefit and elevate each other, and hoping that this video helps someone out there that might be going through the same situation. So how can you avoid ending up in, let's say, Annie and 2Face's situation? First of all, normalize divorce. Secondly, never stay in a marriage just because of children. Sometimes children are better off when the parents are divorced, because if children are in a toxic family like the Annies, it damages them more than being in a divorced family. What example are you giving your kids? Are you telling them it's okay to be treated like doormats and stay? So you have the responsibility as a mom, as a dad, to show your children what a healthy relationship should be and what they should never tolerate in life. Third or fourth, I guess, children are never a means to saving a marriage. If a marriage is not working, if things are not really working out, do not get pregnant with the hope that getting a child will save your marriage. It's actually unfortunate for that child to be born in such a situation. Also, ladies, please, and I say that every day, your marriage, your relationship, whether you're just dating, does not define who you are. Not even motherhood defines who you are. Whatever you do in life, always go back to that little girl. If you're, let's say you're Stella, you're a mom of 3, married to a celebrity, always ask yourself, who am I when all these things are stripped away? When my kids are not there, when my husband is not there, when my job is not there, who am I? Go deep inside you, reflect, what are my strengths, what are my desires, what are my dreams? And when you keep going back to this place, you'll never give yourself up. Never give yourself up for a marriage. Do not whatsoever, no matter how wealthy and generous and kind your partner is, do not ever give up your financial independence. Whichever way you decide to go about it, if it means keeping your job or your partner gets to pay you a monthly fee for all the services that you offer, but make sure that you have your own money. Make sure that you remain financially independent. Make sure that you keep your own circle of friends, your own, circle of network. Do not ever whatsoever give up who you are, sacrifice who you are, and then just define yourself around your marriage, because that's exactly what I believe happened to Annie if you follow up her whole situation. So ladies, always keep that in mind. And also keeping in mind, do not ever in life overstay a situation, be it a marriage, be it a relationship, be it a job. Do not overstay a situation and hope that you can love people into being better people, that you can love them into loving them more, that you can love them into committing. Do not ever. If you notice things are not working, call it quits, and another door always opens, and probably even your current relationship is standing in your way to finding your soulmate, to a better partner. So what I can say for Annie and what I wish for her is to take time off social media. Do not come on social media to rant. Do not come to explain to us what happened, ABC. If 2Face wants to explain, let him do that. But take time for yourself. Do therapy. Take time to reflect. Remember who you were. Work on your career. Build yourself again. And when you feel stable enough, just come back and live your life. You don't owe us an explanation. All I can say is she's in my prayers, and I hope she makes it back to where she was before. She ended up in such a messy situation, and like I said, being a divorcee myself and had to start from zero to get where I am, I know that it's possible to start over, and sometimes it's the only and best option. And finally, for all my ladies out there, even men, to be honest, just because you've been with someone for so long does not mean you cannot live. If it's no longer working, if it's no longer serving you, if you fall out of love, if you're no longer happy, please end a relationship. And for me, I consider that as a sign of love. Setting someone free so they can start over, so they can find happiness. I believe divorce or separation is also an act of love, because what does it benefit both of you staying in a toxic situation like the Annies have been living? Both have been suffering, 2Face and her, not just Annie. 2Face has also been suffering. So separation and divorce sometimes is an act of love. So my lovelies, if you're new here, do not forget to subscribe, and of course give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, share it with a friend, and let's continue to empower each other, elevate each other, especially as women, as mothers, as a people, especially my African people, and get to a state where we're all satisfied with our lives and can confidently say we are doing the best we can to better our society. And don't judge Annie or 2Face so harshly. I'm here to inspire, uplift, and empower you. Until next time, thank you.